Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on the Real Estate Podcast. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart International, and I'm so excited today actually to have one of my good friends and a business colleague here with us today. We have Matt Hendricks from Zillow Group with us today on the podcast. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm excited you are too. Matt is the Director of Broker Relations and Strategy for Zillow Group. Is that the right title?
It is.
I get it
for
right?
Today.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And the thing that you all need to know about Matt is Matt travels all around the country, and he's on the road an awful lot, out visiting brokerages all around the country of all different companies, all different markets, large market, small market, etc. And when he's there, he's absorbing a lot of information and data about what's going on in the industry as a whole, as well as I know you help agents, you help brokers,
Yes, sir.
conduct more real estate, and that's the goal of this podcast. Is smart strategies to accelerate your business in real estate, any real estate professional, and so I'm anxious to tap into all that knowledge you have up in your brain.
I don't know if you want to call it knowledge, but I have lots of information up there. I've learned a lot. It's all osmosis, though.
I'm sure you have a lot of good knowledge, and you have a very good team at Zillow Group, especially who help you, with all that information and data and content, et cetera, too.
We have a massive amount of very smart people that work on all different facets of the real estate industry. I mean, if we're talking about tech or development or insights or economy or just being out in the field and dealing with our broker partners and our fantastic agents. I mean, we have insight into just about every aspect of it, let alone just the business side of it, but the consumer side as well. So we do a ton of research and a ton of surveys to get as much information and data from the consumer side as possible, regardless of just traffic and everything else that's going on. We go out and survey these people across the board, from homeowners, sellers, home buyers, renters, all different demographics, all different age groups, because we really want to understand what they're doing and what they're thinking so that we can go out to like HomeSmart and spread that information, because it's difficult and time consuming to do that and expensive.
Right.
So we pride ourselves on gathering as much data as possible.
Right. Let's talk real quick though let's dig into the importance of creating authentic relationships and authentic relationships with customers. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that we were talking earlier that consumers are online more than ever. They're absorbing technology more than ever. But I think that it's interesting that you're seeing statistics that they also are working with realtors more than ever. So setting the stage for that, let's start with the younger generation. What can you share about that?
Well, if you want to, let's start with the younger generation. I mean, we tend to consider them digital natives. I mean, they have never had a point in their life where they haven't had a remote control in their pocket for their life. I mean, our phone has become our remote control. So they haven't had an era where they went to Blockbuster or where they used a typewriter or there was a cord on their phone.
You're making me feel old.
Hey, I might still have a Blockbuster card somewhere. but the fact of the matter is their entire life has been focused around immediacy and personalization to them and everything else that you can do from your phone or from your laptop or from your tablet. So they are digital natives. This is their whole world. They don't know any different.
Right.
So as that happens and as you have this information, just basic overload, I mean, you have the world at your fingertips. How do you decipher that? How do you filter it? How do you make sense of it? And then how do you act upon that? And that's why, the stat you see behind us, younger generations are using technology more and more to start their search, to use the resources as they're going through the home buying process.
Right.
But they don't know what to do with that. Because there's so much out there, and you can sit and watch HGTV all day long, every day, to learn every in and out of what's going on, how to remodel the house, how to buy it, what to list it at.
Right.
But I need your help. I need an agent's help because I've never done this. I can't Google how to successfully get through a transaction and not have huge liabilities on myself. Right. There's so much that goes into that, and I have so much information. I need somebody to tell me what to do with it. Right. I mean, that's really the basis of it.
I read a marketing study recently. They coined the phrase the return of the human, and what it meaning that describing exactly what you're talking about. They're digging in and absorbing all of this information, but then it reaches a point where they do reach out and they want that human contact that a realtor or real estate professional provides.
Almost like analysis paralysis.
Right.
I mean, you have so much and you've done so much research. Please, somebody help me make sense of all this. And
Right.
it's a difference in connection too. I mean, the role of the agent and broker is changing as well. I mean, we talk so much about service and different service levels, but what does that look like, and how do you separate yourself from just an information portal? I mean,
Right.
that's a big key there too. So
Right.
this next step that's up here is even more impactful. So we already saw that 88% of millennials are using online resources, and I have no idea what the other 12% are doing. I mean, that just doesn't even make sense to me. I'm assuming they're on like an old-timey typewriter and,
Right.
and mixing their own beard wax or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, 80% of them are actually using an agent if they're doing all the research on their own to begin with. 86% of them are engaging with an agent. Maybe they're asking questions, what do you think my house is worth? Whatever early stages of it, but 80% are using them. That's a huge number.
Right, right. Well, I think that they want guidance and they want expertise through all of the data, that they have. And I think that sometimes too we talk, I mean, this actually gets into our next slide, but I think that there's so much more to being a real estate agent and a real estate professional than just transactional or just data about the neighborhood. I mean, at times you're a financial counselor, right? You're a
Yes.
emotional counselor. You're a guide that just a source of reassurance, right?
You wear all the hats. You have to, because you are dealing with a life process, but not only with just that singular process, you're taking into account everything else they have going on in their life.
Right.
What's going on with their kids? Are they getting into high school? Are they getting out of high school?
Right.
Are they brand new? Are you upsizing?
Right.
I've got 4 dogs. I need a place for my dogs. Are there dog parks nearby?
Right.
My wife hates the color of this house, but I love the kitchen in this house. I mean, you're a therapist through a lot of that as well too.
Totally.
So the good agents that I see across the country take into account every aspect of that consumer's life.
Right.
You have to. This isn't just about a one and done transaction. This is a transformative point in a person's life.
Well, that's where you get back to the original opening of what we talked about, is creating authentic relationships, right? Because it's an ongoing, authentic caring for someone. And you create an authentic relationship. If you don't do that, it doesn't go anywhere. Right?
Exactly.
Right. And I think that we've set the stage here for and I think everybody knows it. Consumers online. They're getting online more than ever before, but so how do we create that authentic relationship that makes the transition from online to personal or online to in person? Your company does such a great job of getting in front of the consumer and providing them with a lot of this data, but then at some point they need to be handed off. Or they need to be connected. Connected is a better word, not handed off.
Yes.
I like the word connected.
Me too.
They need to be connected to that real person, that real estate professional that's going to help them. So, how are ways that agents can connect? In your mind.
Everybody has their own strategies. I mean, every agent has a little bit different nuances as to what they're doing and how they have their book of business. But when you get away from your sphere of influence, your SOI, or just personal referrals, which are still extremely valuable and that's still a huge part of business, what do you do next? We're all online. We've already established that fact.
Right.
So how do you stand out? How do you put yourself out front? How do you tell your story? If I'm never going to get the chance to meet you, Todd, you're out searching, you've looked at 100 homes and all you see is agents popping up all over. How do I set myself apart in that? This sounds super basic, but I tell this to everybody I talk to. You have to start with your profile. It's just everything else we do is so ratings, reviews, profile related. It has to start there. It's free. It's super easy to do.
Right.
But that is your place to tell a story.
Right.
Everybody that's searching online does not know that you are the absolute best agent in your office and that you closed $100 million last year. If you have a 20-year-old picture and you have no past sales and no recent reviews and no star rating, I'm not going to go on Amazon and buy anything that doesn't have a picture or that doesn't have any reviews or any star ratings, because I don't care if it's $2. I'm researching every aspect of it and I'm reading 10 reviews on it. So a great starting point is just to go in, make sure your profile's up to date, have a professional headshot, have it represent you. have reviews, have ratings, have all the things that tell your story. It's super impactful.
So I have to interrupt you, and I don't want to also disappoint you, but I was in a meeting very recently, somewhere outside of somewhere else in the country, and top producing agent up in front of the room, 200 plus deals a year. And he just asked the room, he said, come on, you start with the free stuff. At the, you know, sometimes you don't have that budget at the beginning that you want, or you don't have the budget. And this was a room full of newer agents as well as experienced agents, but he's like, how many of you have gone and completed the free stuff? How many of you completed your profile? Have you put your reviews or your photo, your online? And only 50% of the room raised their hand. And he literally stopped and he said, stop it right here. This is free. This is stupid that you aren't like taking advantage of this. And he said every online opportunity that you have, because your company provides great opportunities. There's others as well, but make a list of 3 or 4 of them and get them done, and just take the time to. I'm just saying. I'm agreeing with you about that is the easiest and best place to start. And I implore anyone listening right now, just make sure that that's one of the first things you do after listening to this podcast.
You don't know where the eyeballs are coming from.
Right.
Plain and simple. So regardless of Zillow's reviews and our profiles, go get your profile done everywhere you can. We are in the people business. You are trying to reach out to people.
Right.
People need to find you and see you as a person.
Right.
Go do it everywhere,
Right.
especially if it's free. I know it may take 10 minutes, but if that 10 minutes 3 months down the road makes you $10,000, that's very good point. And then not only that, you're able to go in, put your picture on there. You're able to put a video on there. So you can actually talk to your consumer about what you are and how you work and all of those good things. I mean, this is your online resume, but it's also your job interview.
So any agent can also upload a video, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I ask agents all the time when I'm in front of them in a group, and I'm like, if I asked you right now if you could be face-to-face with a customer or be on the phone or an email with them, which would you prefer? Every time they're like face-to-face. And I'm like, okay, so if you can't get face-to-face, what is video? Video brings you so much closer, and you just said it gets you face-to-face, even though you're not really there.
Yeah.
So next thing, make sure you put a video up in your profile, get that online. Let's talk about reviews. How important are reviews?
In my personal opinion, I think they're more important than anything else. In your About Me section, you can talk about all the great things that you do, all the areas that you work, your experience. That's you talking about you. Your reviews are so much more powerful because these are coming from people you have worked with.
Right.
And even as you're an agent asking for reviews from your past clients, you want them to tell a story. Them saying, hey Todd, you're a great agent. That doesn't tell the next person really anything about you other than you got the transaction closed.
Right.
I want to know, what were the hard parts of the transaction? How did you help me get through those? Was escrow difficult? Did we have problems with financing at the end? Were there inspection issues? Did we have a sewer problem? Have your clients tell the story about how that transaction went. Because me as a consumer who doesn't know you, 5-star agent, great agent, 5-star agent, great agent, all that over and over again doesn't tell me about it. I want to know nuances about you.
Okay, so do you really think that those impact an agent's business?
Hugely. Hugely.
Well, I know you do, and I want that to come across because you talk to so many agents.
Yes.
Why do you believe that?
One, because I know how I shop. Regardless of home, I know how I shop. I know how everybody else that I know shops. It's all about those type of things. Right. But I also know how many top-notch, multi-million-dollar producing agents tell me about their reviews. In the sense that it puts in the back of their mind that they are going for a standard of service every single time. Right. And they have leads coming in all the time just based on the reviews. Not the listings that they have, but based on the reviews and the story that they've been able to tell that consumer that they've never met before.
I agree completely. I hear it so much from top producing agents, and that's why I just want to support you. I agree 100%. I have one little story I got to tell.
Please do.
So one of our agents and that I was working with, she told me that in the first 3 or 5 minutes, one of her goals is to say, I want a 5-star review from you on Zillow. And then she unpacked for me why she says that. She says, I right then and there, I plant the seed for them that I'm going to provide them exceptional service, exceptional everything, support, knowledge, expertise, everything that they need, because I have to do that to get a 5-star. Number two, I'm planning that when they go do the review, I used to just say, "Oh, go give me a review," and I would get a 4.5, and I'd be like, "Well, why did I get 4.5? What did I do wrong? Why not a 5?" And she's like, when I started saying, I want a 5-star review from you, I get 5s.
Yes.
And she says, but I get the 5s because I do the work.
Right.
She said, more importantly, it sets the bar for me and my team. She said that we've already put it out there. Everything we do every day, we get a phone call, we're reminded, we promised them 5-star service, let's call them back within 1 minute. And she said it raised the level of the service of her team and what they're actually providing. And it just all snowballs.
It does.
And she's like, now, she's like, I can't tell you the positive impact is so positive on my business that I get from reviews.
It takes it to that next level. You're holding yourself to that higher standard of service, and that's what you're giving your clients. It makes all the difference in the world.
Love it. All right, so you've got a ton of online resources, online at Zillow. Where do agents go find this information?
We have so much stuff online. So even with the resources that we have available, and I know this is on a podcast, we got 3 URLs on here. One, Zillow.com/agent-resources gives you all kinds of information about scripts, templates, handouts, webinars for how to maximize your profile, maximize your online lead presence.
Right.
It gives you tips and trends of what other agents are doing.
Right.
Zillow.com/report gives you deep insight into our consumer housing trends report, where we go out and actually survey 15,000 homeowners, buyers, sellers, renters, and gives you all the statistics to back up what we're talking about. And then Zillow.com/research is going to give you deep insight into your macro market, your micro market, however you want to learn about what areas you're working and back it up with real stats. That's where that stuff's available.
Love it. Okay, so I want to go back and I want to end up on one slide here, right here, this slide.
Yep.
All right, so we've been talking about the importance of all these items that are online, but at the end, you have a slide here. I'm going to read them for those that are listening on the podcast. It says, be their valued connector. Be the neighborhood, give neighborhood insight. Be professional. Be a mediator, knowledgeable, friendly, coach, responsive, authentic, guide, mentor, honest, empathetic. Empathetic is almost one of the most powerful that I've seen. Top agents seem to really have that trait a lot. They care so much. And so just to end on that, the note that we're talking about this online, we're talking about trying to make a path for them. And I think reviews, video, all those things you mentioned are a great path to get them connected. But be their valued connector.
Yes.
Make it personal, create the authentic relationships with them.
Show you care. Show you care. Empathy and showing you care, go hand in hand. They basically are the same thing. In the world we live in, with our digital natives and with everything that we do that is in the palm of our hand, that part of it changes the dynamic. That's the start of the service level that you can go is show you care, because that's harder and harder to get these days. Right.
Well, Matt, thank you for being here today on the Real Estate Podcast. I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate what you're doing for the industry as a whole, all the travel that you do, and helping make real estate agents better throughout the country, and sharing your knowledge. And we appreciate the platform your company gives, and just everything you do for us. So thank you.
And thank you for everything that you do. I know we cross paths in airports quite often because you're on the road a lot too, but you are doing the same. So thank you so much for having me today.
No, you're welcome. Thank you very much. So for those of you that are listening to the podcast, please go on, give us a review, give us a like. See, you have to ask for that review, and look out for future, podcasts as well. We're actually going to do one more podcast here with Matt on another topic, so keep an eye out for that in the future. And thank you for joining us here today on the Real Estate Podcast. I'm Todd Sumney. See you soon.